The following is meant for entertainment and educational purposes. It is not meant to establish a doctor-patient relationship. Please consult your mental health provider for your mental health needs. Hello, welcome to Chez Eric, where we talk about psychiatry and religion with a focus on how to apply it to your life. My name is Dr. Eric. I'm a psychiatrist who happens to be religious. Today we will be talking about William James's Varieties of Religious Experience, in particular lecture 19, and we're on part 3, the final part of lecture 19, the lecture before the final lecture. I hope you're excited. But before I get into that, William James wants to get through some other characteristics that he didn't get a chance to talk about when it comes to religion. We talked about aesthetics, we talked about sacrifice and confession, we talked about prayer, and finally we're going to be talking about the subconscious. All right. There's a connection between the religious experience and the subconscious. Do you remember in the past when William James was talking about something called the automatisms? It took me a while to understand what he was referring to. But these are sort of automatic things that you do that you can't help. Automatic thoughts or potentially hallucinations or things like that. And it's something that they automatically do outside of their will. For example, St. Paul had many visions. Many Christian saints had visions. And we say that these visions, these things that they experienced, these automatisms were very special and they had a super sense to them, right? And the beliefs are strengthened in God, in faith, when the automatisms corroborate the beliefs that they have. So if you believe in God and you see a vision of God, that's going to corroborate your belief and it's going to strengthen that faith. And so for these people who have these automatisms, these things that they do, they feel as if God or the Spirit moves their very organs of their body. It sounds kind of odd for people who have not quite experienced it themselves, but that is what's happening. What William James sees is that these automatisms are related to the subconscious, and that's the relationship. It kind of bolsters their faith. So there's this interaction with what you do on a subconscious level, and then you're bolstering your faith. In this sense, being an instrument of God is what James called inspiration. And it's easy to see, some religious leaders are subject to inspiration, or some are not. For some spiritual leaders, these automatisms, right, will occasionally happen every now and then. Some other ones, they're more frequent. Ultimately, the profession of being a religious leader requires you to be under the direction of a foreign power, and you simply serve as a mouthpiece. And we see this a lot in ancient texts of people saying, I am a servant of God. God commands you what to do. I literally don't care. I am his, he is mine, whatever. And that's it, right? And if we take our previous understanding of inspiration and add it to our understanding of mysticism, then we begin to see the unification of the internal conflict, right, with the higher power and the self, which is called conversion. Remember the section on conversion? Is it all coming together now? So what happens is that the subconscious has these automatisms that kind of percolate. You have a mystical experience. They combine together. You have a conversion process, and suddenly you have a unification of the soul towards this divine being. And when you have all these components, right, you become a saint. And as a result, what William James is trying to point out is that the saintliness has a fundamental subconscious component. So what are your thoughts about that? We've learned a lot about the subconscious or about psychological processes. What William James has said isn't necessarily controversial, not necessarily inaccurate. We just learned a lot more, but I don't know if I haven't seen any studies about the subconscious and religiosity. I haven't particularly looked either, but it's just an interesting concept to think about, what these subconscious aspects are interacting with our religious senses and feelings and mysticism. Look, it's a lot, okay? And by lecture 19, he's roping in a lot of other stuff. So by this time, it's you have to go back to really get the gist of it. That concludes lecture 19, the second to last, the penultimate lecture. And next time we'll be talking about the final lecture where he makes some concluding remarks. Very, very exciting. I hope you enjoyed that. Do like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Hey, sign up for my weekly newsletter. I send out emails every week on psychiatry and religion. I realize that email is a great way to go deep into these topics. So if you want more content, check out chesericpurl.com and subscribe over there. Thanks.